What is it? Gavin, you had a pretty simple answer. You said what?
It's just supporting. If you're a Zionist, if you support Israel.
But what does support mean? I mean, that's really broad.
You want it to exist. You want America to have its back. I think you could be a Zionist and not want them to get the $3 to $4 billion a year. There's plenty of Zionists, but you just support its right to exist, and you don't want it to disappear from the river to the sea.
All right, we will get into the river to the sea later, by the way. So I want to let you guys know we will touch on that exact.
When are we doing our opening statements at the end?
No, this is a defining moment, Gavin. I know that this is difficult. We're going a little slow here, but a lot of people were defining the terms here. Classic debate mode. So I'm trying to define Zionism. So that was good. All right, Vincent, jump in and let me know what do you define Zionism as? Pretty short and simple to somebody who's never heard of it before.
Yeah, so I guess this would be my opening statement. I know you guys said don't go long, but Gavin said something that I hear people say this all the time. They say that Zionism just means that Israel should exist. Now, before I talk about that, I just want to say, there are a lot of people right now that are saying that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. Jared Kushner says this. Ron DeSantis, who signed 2 bills for the state of Florida in the country of Israel, has said this. Nikki Haley has said this. Brett Stevens has said this. Adam King, who's on the panel right now, will tell you to disaggregate Israeli Zionism from what he claims Zionism actually means, which he says it means peace to all nations. He says that the term Zion refers to a utopia for all of humanity. Well, the truth is that Zionism was established as a political organization in 1897 under Theodore Herzl, and it was a movement with the goal of establishing a Jewish nation state by any means necessary. Today, its goal is to develop and grow that nation state by any means necessary, even if that means sacrificing Americans, sacrificing America, sacrificing American interests. Some people will say, and I've heard Gavin McInnes say this, I've heard Laura Loomer say this, some people say that Zionism just means Israel should exist. Now, my question to them would be which state of Israel are you talking about? What year? Is it the Israel of the Uganda scheme, which was proposed by the British to the Zionists and was going to be in East Africa? Is it the idea of Israel? Sorry?
2023.
Okay,
no one's giving up any land.
Well, yeah, but some people have different. So, my thing is some people they always say this, and so but the question is what does it mean? Is it the idea of Israel during the Balfour Declaration signing in 1917? Is it the Israel of 1948 during the Nakba when tens of thousands of Palestinians were killed and displaced? Is it the Israel of the 1967 Six-Day War? So that's your definition.
When we talk about America, we don't talk about Texas and Spain. We talk about the borders that are alive today.
Okay, so the Israel of today that is currently committing a genocide in Gaza as they annex more territory. Or, for Adam King, it's the Oded Yanan plan of the greater Israel from the Nile to the Euphrates. So Gavin might disagree with the definition of Israel, Adam King's definition of Israel. He once said on an interview that would be sick if we had from the Nile to the Euphrates. So that's my question there. And then do the people who support Zionism, the idea that Israel should exist, also support all of the things that have happened in the pursuit of Zionism? Like the secret operations against the U.S. and Western allies by Israelis and American Jews, countless false flag and direct attacks against Americans and its Western allies, endless wars and the annexation of land, Jewish American traitors in the U.S. government, the seizing of power in every single American institution. So my definition of Zionism is the correct one, and I believe that it is a force for evil.
All right, well, the truth is your definition of Zionism is the wrong definition. I thought it was quite interesting how you decided everything that I believe before I even spoke, but I will. I know you wanted to send it to Nick, but I'll just give my definition of Zionism. Go ahead. So, really, in truth, there's really 2 types of Zionism in the world. Zionism started a lot longer than Theodore Herzl. Actually, it was founded in part mostly by the likes of a very famous rabbi named the Vilna Gaon, as well as the Baal Shem Tov and the students of the Baal Shem Tov. And there are 2 types of Zionism, are religious Zionism and secular Zionism. So first came religious Zionism, which was a movement inside of the religious Jewish communities that pretty much said that the exile is over, that the Jews, we have a right to our homeland, and that we need to go back to our homeland in order to bring about the age of the Messiah. So religious Zionism is very focused primarily on the bringing of the Messiah and bringing the Zion, which is heaven on earth, peace to all the world, and peace to all the nations. Secular Zionism differs a little bit from religious Zionism in the sense that these people don't really care so much about religion or the Messiah or anything like that. They just want a place where Jews can be sovereign. And where better to be sovereign than the land of our ancestry? And the land that Zionism seeks is the land that is outlined in the Bible as Moses gave to the children.
You know what's funny? A lot of Jews are secular nowadays. They don't believe in God. But when it comes to Israel, when it benefits them, they believe it. They somehow believe in the Bible when they don't even believe in God. And by the way, the Messiah came and you rejected and crucified him. Okay?
So that's Zionism in a nutshell. In the most simple definition, it's the Jewish belief in in sovereignty, in self-determination.
Let me move here. Nick, I see you got your hand on your face. You look bored. You look like you're sighing. I'd love to know where you agree or disagree with not only the people on the panel, but also just what you would define it as. And just note, gentlemen, after Nick is done speaking, we'll start with Nick. Nick, share with us your opinion on this, and then let's give us your opening statement on your general position on this, your understanding of Zionism, and anywhere you want to go. Let's keep the remarks under 2 minutes for your opening statement if we can.
Okay. Well, I'm not bored. I'm not signed because I'm bored. It's actually an interesting conversation. I'm just chomping at the bit to get in here. But no, I actually agree with Adam. It's important to note, and maybe this is where the agreement will end. I think actually it's interesting. Me and Adam are kind of like the true opposites. We're really the true opposite poles in this debate because he's a Messianic Chabad Kabbalist Jew, and I'm a Messianic Catholic.
I'm actually
Roman
not a
Christian.
Chabad Jew. I'm actually a Breslov.
I'm sorry. You're right. Hasidic, not Chabad.
Different type of Hasidic.
Yes. So in any case, so we really are the true opposites, and it's important to note the distinction between the religious Zionists and the political Zionists or the secular Zionists. And he's right. I mean, the most prominent Zionists during the creation of the State of Israel were labor Zionists. That was the first handful of prime ministers and very left-wing socialists. And certainly it's true that a lot of Jews today, I think probably most of them in Israel, would not be considered religiously Zionist. And, you know, this regime that Netanyahu has cobbled together has a lot of religious Zionist Jews in there. And this has created a lot of tension with the United States and with Europe and even with the political situation in Israel. And so I actually agree. I think that, but regardless, the point is I think both secular and religious Zionists want a Jewish state in Israel. What that looks like, how that's structured, there's difference between them, but I guess those are the fundamental similarities. They want a Jewish state in Palestine, in what is considered Palestine. Now, again, the scope and who's going to be in there, that's subject to debate. My position on Zionism is I actually reject the religious Zionism more. I don't necessarily think it's a worse thing if the Jews have a state or have their own people. And although I think that what they're doing is inhumane and what they've done in the past is inhumane, and although I don't think the United States should support it, you know, this is a stateless people. They're a diaspora people, and they built a country, and it is what it is. You know, I'm not one of these humanitarian, you know, bleeding heart liberals that says, you know, that they're colonists or something like that. To some extent, I do believe in a might makes right sort of mentality because it's sort of difficult. What is the foundation of the state other than that, other than the ability to project force within a given jurisdiction? But the religious Zionism is troubling because, you know, Adam talks about the Messiah, but of course the Messiah already came. His name's Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And the Messiah that Adam has in mind is going to destroy the Vatican, is going to destroy Rome in his mind. He's going to seek retribution against the Catholic Church for all of the perceived iniquities that Rome has prosecuted against the Jews. So, of course, I don't support this messianic religious project because it's heretical and it's blasphemous and it's wrong. And fundamentally, it's set against and opposed to the true faith, which is Catholicism. So, and just to sort of wrap that up, like I said, we are the true opposites in the sense that, you know, I feel like in this debate and maybe in other debates, it's a question about, you know, what should America do and liberals and this kind of thing. And I think Adam wants America to make the world open for the Messiah. I want America to form the world into the Catholic Church, to form the world into Jesus's church. And so in that sense, you know, we really are these battling twin brothers of Rome and Israel. So so that would be my opening statement. I'm opposed to it, opposed to religious Zionism. If there's political Zionism, I think the United States should not support it because they have been hostile towards us. They have not been friendly.
Okay, the highest density of Hasidic Jews is Montreal, upstate New York, and Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And that's where I've lived since I was 18. And I think the Achilles heel with Nick's argument is he sees Jews as a monolith. Even within Orthodox Jews, there's constantly these civil wars. So I made this incredible chart to try to differentiate between what I call the four Jews. And they are, number one, Hasidim. Brian, you can hit it at any time now. What were you doing there? Like, it wouldn't occur to you to drop the hammer at that point?
Ezra Levant. Sorry, is that Ezra Levant in the back?
Yep. So there's Hasidim, and these guys are like Smurfs. They're a very weird little group. They don't really dislike Goyim or Orthodox. They don't even see anyone else. They're living in a bubble, and like the guys in the tunnels have nothing to do with Group 4, who we'll get to in a second. There is kind of like a tip of the hat, like thank you for your service, between Orthodox and Hasidim, but not really. Like they have a mutual sense of respect, but they're not in the same universe. These guys are in outer space. So don't drag them into anything else here. And these guys are pro-Israel, anti-Israel. Then you have the Orthodox Jews like Ron Coleman. These are our allies. They're pro-Trump. They love Christians. They help Christians. They are great dudes. And they're an integral part of every movement, including, by the way, the New Right. Alt-right, all these new right movements, you need Jews like this and this in the mix. I don't know. They're just good at organizing. Then you have the secular Zionist Jews, not as devout as Ron over here, like Ezra Levant. These guys are friends. They're cool. Your beef is mostly with these. I call them ginos. They're secular. They're anti-Zionist. They hate Israel. They're Bolsheviks. They're mostly atheists. They go to temple. Temple's a joke. George Soros is second-generation atheist. They believe in things like female rabbis. And you got to understand that these bitches hate these guys, and these three guys fucking hate this bitch's guts. Although Hasidim don't even hate these people. They don't think of these people. Like they sort of acknowledge these people, but these guys are in a universe all their own. So these two are the real Jews in the world. These are fake. And most of your beef, like in the media and in politics, is going to be these ginos. Now, the reason that I say I oppose anti-Semitism, well, one of the many reasons is I go, white people have this sense of ethnomasochism. We're altruistic. We want to debase ourselves. We're horrible. We're horrible. You see people from this group, a disproportionate number in media and politics, go, yeah, you do suck. You are horrible. So what whites do is or anti-Semites do is they go, these fuckers made me hate myself. And that's true.
So the anti-Zionists are going against white people more than the Zionists?
In a sense, there are a lot of people from this group saying that white people suck, but you can't put all the blame on them. There has to be some culpability here. And that is why I keep harping about this, because I want you to have some culpability. Before the end of World War II, before Jews took over the media, white people were still like, oh, we suck, we're horrible. You know, we had an American Holocaust in this country. We lost 620,000 men. That's equivalent of 5 million today. Why? Because we were worried about rights. We were so altruistic. We were sailing boats over to Africa. You know, in Woman King, the Dahomies, we were like, please stop having slaves. We were more concerned about Africans than Africans were. Or Or the Indians. We were so worried about the Indians. We had a 360-year war with them, and we were like, oh my God, that we fought. I love them so much. We named our cars, our towns, Ronkonkoma, Mamaroneck, and Geronimo, and Tomahawk fucking missiles. Like, we worshiped the Indians, and they slaughtered us. So whites have this sense of self-hatred, and to blame it on the Jews is a cop-out. It's like Jared Taylor says, it was at the point where if it rains on your birthday, you...
Blame what? Exactly. Blame what? Just saying the truth is not blaming people. No white people is blaming the Jews because we went to war with the natives and because we sacrificed a lot of our people to free the slaves. Nobody's blaming the Jews for that. Even though you can look who owned the slave trade, who owned the ships.
You blame the Jews. And that's what we criticize blacks for. Blacks are always like, man, I can't get a leg up because whitey's always knocking me down. Well, you're the same when you constantly blame this group. This group is not responsible. This group is contributing to your problems, by the way. But you also, as a white person, need to confront your ethnomasochism.
Okay, so we're calling that
I'm impressed, man.
Multi-Jewers?
I never heard a Gentile put it so succinctly like that. You could tell that Gavin grew up around a lot of Jews.
Go ahead.
I thought the K word was going to be dropped by the other side, but let's fucking go.
It's usually chicks who say cut.
I mean, he knows his Jews, that he got his Jew stuff down. And so before we have the Jew and the man, the myth, the legend, Adam King speak, I mean, hey, give us you kind of gave your opening statement, but where do you stand on this?
Yeah, I just want to respond to Gavin a little bit. Like, a lot of those people that, and maybe not specifically those people that he has of the heads up there on screen, but a lot of those people that I guess would be in those categories agree on one thing, and that one thing is making sure that they defend Israel at all costs.
No,
these
three defend Israel at all costs. These cunts would happily let Israel burn to the ground.
Well, okay, but here's the thing. Like, if you look at what Sarah Silverman's saying on Twitter, it sounds a lot like she's defending Israel, right? If you look at a lot of these atheist Jews, these atheist liberal Jews who you would describe or who you would categorize as ginos, a lot of them seem to be pretty strongly in support of Israel. And like, you look at like
Sarah Silverman's sister is an activist in Israel. She is she's an Orthodox Jew. So I won't count Sarah Silverman. And Sarah Silverman, she is pretty darn fucking anti-Zionist for even someone who has a Zionist sister. But if you look at the other ones who will happily, they're pro-Palestine. That's the other thing I always argue with Nick about this. In Israel, there are anti-Zionists who are pro-Palestine and want the wall to go. Like, the problem with you guys is you're devoid of nuance within this view of the Jew.
Well, so I don't think that's true. I think, in my opening statement, I differentiated between secular and religious Zionists. And you're right. I mean, there's even Jews within the Hasidic community, although not many of them who are anti-Zionist. And there's secular Jews who are anti-Zionist for their reasons. But ever since the October 7th attack, there's almost none of them that are pro-Palestine anymore. Everybody in Israeli society has moved to the right, and there's almost nobody that's anti-war anymore. There's almost nobody that's pro-Palestine. They can't do their protests anymore. No one will host them. They're dwindling numbers. And the reason for that is because when they are attacked, that is when you see the real nature of Jews, which, although you're right, I mean, there's that old trope about you get two Jews, you get three different opinions. They love to argue. That's really sort of the essence of their legalistic tradition. But when they are attacked by a Gentile, when they are attacked by the nations of the world, all those differences vanish and they all become cognizant and conscious of the thing that they have in common, which is that they are all Jews. And that's why, 3 weeks before the October 7th attack, Ben Shapiro was bashing Jonathan Greenblatt for years. And Jonathan Greenblatt was hitting a lot of the Zionist Jews And the Zionist Jews were trying to undermine Greenblatt for years, ever since he took over ADL. But on October 7th, when that attack happened, Shapiro was retweeting Greenblatt. And Greenblatt went on MSNBC to shame MSNBC and said, you have too many pro-Palestine commentators on this network. And when the Chabad Lubavitchers in New York were in the tunnel, who's out there at the forefront defending them against the anti-Semitic tropes? It's the liberal ginos from ADL. And so I agree with you. I mean, there is distinction, there is nuance within it. But at the end of the day, they're all on the same team. And it's that race loyalty which is so pernicious in an open society like America, especially when they have influence. Blacks are very race loyal, but it doesn't really matter because they're broke. I mean, their average wealth and average income is so low, I mean, they really have no political agency. But Jews having that extreme race loyalty, maybe more than any other group, and it's a testament to them. I think that's a positive attribute in some sense. But they're here. And this isn't, I mean, this is not the Jewish state. This is the American state. They wield influence, and they use it to their own benefit, their primary benefit, which is the nation of the Jews across the world, or the state of Israel. And that comes at the exclusion and often the expense and the detriment of the United States. And so, you know, I don't hate Jews. I don't have necessarily even a problem with them. I don't want to kill them or harm them like people say. But I think that you can't have people in charge of the country. You know, like Adam says, America is good because it'll bring about the Jewish Messiah. That's not why America's good. I mean, this is a Christian nation. And that's fine if he believes that, but he should go believe that in Israel, not here.
Guys, let me know in the comments what you think. If you agree or disagree with Nick, leave a like if you want to. Christ is King. God bless.